Good morning, and welcome to the workshop of Exil Arte. Today you'll meet Professor Gerold Gruber, founder and chairman of the Center for Band Music, and research associate and flutist Ulrike Anton. Their work is to tell stories about artists. These artists' stories deserve to be told, and their music deserves to be played. Here to help with that today is a group of young musicians from all over the world, from Honduras to Korea, from Germany to Israel, and beyond. Today's session is one of two workshops dedicated to the music of exiled composers, which include repertoire by Hans Gall, Wally Weigel, Hans Winterberg, Ruth Schönthal, and so many more. Be curious and be inspired.
Good morning. Thank you, Arabella Fenevesh, for your nice introduction to this workshop. This is our first day of the Exil Arte workshop here at the Schloss Wartholz, and I'm very thankful that the International Summer Academy of the University of Music and Performing Arts Vienna invited us to give this workshop today and tomorrow. Exil Arte was founded in 2006, and in 2016 the charity organization Exil Arte became part of the Music University, which was of course a great thing, because we have now not only many colleagues who are working with us. We have also an archive, we have an exhibition place, and we can make CDs like this one, or publish books. And now we are also starting with a music edition, which is very helpful, of course, to present this music all over the world. And it's a great pleasure, not only that we are here, but we can bring this music to the young students. And of course, we have a lot of estates at our center. And today, there will be Hans Gall and Fürstenthal, two composers who are already at our estate. And this is a great honor for me to present that together with Ulrike Anton.
Well, thank you, Gerald, for this wonderful introduction to our audience via live stream and also here in the hall. Unfortunately, we do live in a time where we see again an increase of anti-Semitism. Also, we see persecution against ethnic minority. We see violation of women's rights, and so on and so on. So it is even more important to remember the past. And for all musicians, it's also actually an obligation to remember those composers who have been expelled from this country or even murdered by National Socialism. And we are so happy that so many students have signed up for our class. So again, as Professor Gruber already mentioned, within 2 days we will hear a great variety of composers that fall into this category of so-called exile music. And today, also from very different countries, we can welcome students to the podium, and they will present works to us and to the audience in the hall and also via live stream. So I will tell you a little bit how we have envisioned this, the procedure for this workshop, because also for us it's the first time that we're doing this here at ISA, and so we've come up with a little program for all of you. So just to explain to everybody, for most of the students it's brand new repertoire. We have been sending out emails with music about 10 days ago. So again here, thank you so much for taking the initiative and being courageous and just putting this together in such a short period of time. So for everybody, this is work in progress. We do realize that, and we really look forward to working with you. So what we will do is to introduce each composer, a little bit of biography, also trying to place the style within the general path of music history, because you will see there is a great variety of styles that is waiting for you, what you will hear today. And after we've done that, and we try, of course, not to be too long, because the most important thing is that you present the piece here on stage. And after your performance, then we will try to say something useful and just some suggestions. And the most important is, of course, our goal is that some of you really fall in love with this repertoire, and also in future include maybe one or the other piece into your regular repertoire and keep playing it. Yes. And also you as former educators, that when you then in future have students, that you also pass this on to the next generation.
Well, we had already inspired some musicians and ensembles to play this in the last 16 years, and we are happy to follow this up with this workshop, of course.
Absolutely right. So I will just tell you a couple of details about the composer Hans Gahl before we hear our first candidate with a piece by Hans Gahl. So Hans Gahl was born very near to Vienna in 1890, and he, I would say, especially in the times of the Weimar Republic, was one of the most interesting and famous and popular composers, as well as music educators. Already before the First World War, he received a very prestigious music award in Austria, but then his fame came about with two of his operas in the late 1920s. The Sacred Duck, which was premiered under George Szell in Germany and then played all over Germany and generally in the German-speaking world, and then later also the Song of the Night. And he was so popular that also Richard Strauss and Wilhelm Furtwängler recommended him to become director at the Music Academy in Mainz. And this job he received, and so had a really important position in the music world in Germany. And then in 1933, the Nazis came to power, and immediately, because of the Jewish background of Hans Gahl, he was dismissed. So first of all, he went then back to Austria, but then also 1938, we all know the annexation of Austria into Nazi Germany happened, and then it became way too dangerous for the family of Hans Gahl, and they were able to flee to Great Britain. But in Great Britain also, there was a huge problem, because when the war then broke out in 1939, all people coming from the German-speaking world, if they were refugees or not, didn't matter, they were interned. So also Hans Gahl in Great Britain was in an internment camp for about 5 months, and then luckily was freed and spent the time of the Second World War in Edinburgh. So also Hans Gahl faced real tragedy. He heard that his sister and his aunt committed suicide in Weimar because they were not able to get out of Germany in time. And then also in 1942, his son committed suicide, who could not really cope with this situation of exile. Just to end this little introduction to Hans Gahl, Hans Gahl did have a career in Great Britain, but not as a composer, unfortunately. Hans Gahl was very reputed. He was one of the co-founders of the so-called Edinburgh Festival, and he continued to compose, but basically not for the big stage anymore, but just for himself. And we are very happy to announce now that our student, Maria Garcia Blasco from Spain, will perform the first of 3 intermezzi by Hans Gahl, which was composed in 1974, together with our pianist, David Hausknecht. So please, big applause for the two of them. really great performance. Thank you so much again for taking on the challenge and for such a short period of time. Excellent. My first question to you is actually where for you, starting this completely from scratch, where was the challenge for you in the piece?
Okay, so maybe the style, I think.
Yes.
I didn't know how to go with it. And
yeah?
Yeah, I think that was the most difficult part.
The more difficult part. No, I think you did very well because you captured very well this sort of intimacy that we find, especially in the chamber music works by Hans Gahl. If you look at the score, he is he writes a lot of details, and respecting all those details and also putting them into context is quite a challenge. My suggestion, just in general for you, would be not to, I mean, you're extremely musical, which I'm very grateful for. And sometimes this being extremely musical is tricking us a little bit. We want to kind of put more into the piece than we should. Because I've played a lot of works by Hans Gahl, and I've come across it that it's sometimes, if you really respect what he writes, then you don't do so much more agogic than what you're doing. Some of it is fine, but that sometimes the music gets stuck a little bit. So you need to always give it the direction that you're not. It's very dangerous to lose yourself in all these beautiful sounds, and then we're missing a little bit the direction. So just that you know what I mean. Just one thing to be careful when you have this da-di-di-da-dim bam bim bam ba. Don't rush those. It's very. You see the staccato and immediately you go ahead too much. So really da-di-di-da-dim bam bam. Really check that with the measure every time when it's coming. That's the first little detail. And then also, can we do just the beginning one more time? And David, it was really beautiful, but can you just stay very much in tempo with the first introduction and really try to, it's not so much a question of tempo, it's just giving it the direction. So with your first, your first 8 notes, that it sort of it flows right away. So let's try that. Very beautiful, very beautiful. So can you try to also start the crescendo maybe just a little sooner? Yeah, so that already in this scale we have, you're starting at piano, the C sharp. So then it's not such a forte subito when he writes it, that you're sort of leading into that. So let's do that just one more time. Yeah, let's start. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Bar 4 or so. Bar 4.
Sorry, it
So-
was not there. In the
Bar 4. Starting bar 4.
Yeah.
Yes, you started correctly.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Now prepare the scale. And. Yes, very nice, very nice. And there's just one other place I want to bring your attention to, the dolce section. That is after letter C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the C, you know, where all the dreamy triplets are starting. Very beautiful, beautifully played. Also there, being really aware, he writes in basically the rubato. So you just play a rhythm. Just do it as it's, and it'll come, it'll just come, yeah? Have you by any chance listened to the masterclass with Alfred Brendel?
No.
So again, also I recommend to everybody to listen to other instruments masterclasses. It's so important to just also, open our minds to non-flute, non-wind playing. And there he explained that the word dolce is not sweet, as we always, translate it to, but he said, in German, it's zart und innig, meaning tender and something internal. And this is so true for this particular part here. So you have to really, when you play this, also in terms of the color, so it's something you tell for yourself, and then later on it opens up anyway, but just that dreamy beginning, really try to think of that, something very tender and something inside. So not so much the sweetness of it, it's actually here, it's kind of sad, also in this way. So
I would like to mention this Dolce part too, because I don't know this piece as good as you do, but when you played this first note of the Dolce, I thought, oh, this could be a repetition of the first part. No, it is not. Oh, there's Dolce. So you did not change the color of this part. It's the middle section, and with all of middle sections, you have to give another atmosphere, another flair, another tone, whatever, another characterization. So this must be something else as the other part, as the frame parts, first and the third part, So it will be very important, as you already mentioned, to invent something new for you when you go into the middle section,
Yeah, so let's give that a try. Maybe, David, can you start the bar before that? That's bar 36. Yes, please. Okay, let's do it one more time. Let's do it one more time. And also with the way you breathe in, you are setting the atmosphere, and you're helping also your pianist to be together with you. Yeah, let's do it one more time. Okay, relax. Do it one more time. You were slightly late. Also, it's just the breathing in. Sometimes it's really sort of, you don't even need to play. It's the way you breathe is, and then you start. Yeah, and sometimes when you have loads of time, of course you fill yourself up, but sort of the last thing, doing it with the nose, as if you would smell something really beautiful. And then you start off, yeah? So give that a try. Beautiful. I absolutely loved it. Just be aware in bar 41 where he writes the diminuendo, don't bring it too soon. It's just also in the Brendel masterclass we heard that it's sort of that you have 2 beats, of course, then on the B flat. So there you have still loads of time to do a diminuendo. And at the moment I'm losing a little bit the B flat, di, ya, da, and then do the diminuendo. But otherwise, perfect. Let's do it one more time. Yes. Now, don't lose the tempo. Push it a little bit. Yes, very nice, very nice. You see what I was getting on? It's because the ritratando is actually written 1 before E. And if you, because it's so beautiful, you're getting slower and slower already beforehand, then what are you going to do when it says ritatanda? So just here in this place, just also enjoy that you're playing the long phrase and you're taking us by the hand and you're taking us along, yeah? Probably just as a suggestion, 1, 2, 3, 4 before E, those 8 notes you could articulate them just a little shorter, just to indicate that here he does write the 8th note plus the pause and the 8th note plus the pause, just as a suggestion, yeah? Yeah, I have, what's the time doing? I have...
about 5 to 7 minutes.
5 to 7 minutes. I have one place in particularly I want to work on. Gerald, do you have any suggestions in the meantime?
Well, there are many sighing phrases in this particular composition, and many compositions. But I think you should give more warmth to these sighs, because they are very important in this kind of music, and this kind of music comes from Schubert and Brahms, and they have all of these kind of sighs which are very emotional. And every time when they come along, you should give more emotion and sensitivity to them. Yeah, you just play them. You play them wonderful, of course. Yeah, but if you make more stress would be the wrong word. Yeah, warmth. That's what I would say. More warmth to these Wärme, to these sighs will make it feel fantastic. Yeah. So wherever it is, and it's
all over the place.
all over the place, and
yeah.
It would be great if you could play, I think, the beginning again. Mm-hmm. Let's see where these sighs are coming very often.
I think you mean, for example, letter A. Dia.
Yeah. Where's letter A? Which
it's on the first page.
Yes,
right
yeah,
there.
dia. Yeah, so try it again. Let's start, and also in the case of these exclamation marks in measure 6, 7. Yeah, you should give more stress on the da 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 dee da da dee da. Yeah, so let's start with again measure 1, 2, 3, 4. Da dee 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 ya pa bi bi, and then look for these sighing motifs.
Very good.
Great,
So every time when that, and also you see how he really wants that, because he writes these little hairpins, and he writes it on the first one, and also then the measure afterwards, but he doesn't write it on the second half of the bar, and you did beautifully, because it's very tempting to go dee da dee da da dee da da da, but he wants dee da dee da da dee da da dee da. Exactly. So very good. So I have one place to point out, just in general, to highlight the style a little bit in what he writes. It's all the place at G and the measures to follow to the end. Can you, where is it good to pick up? Maybe before G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before G. Yeah, 1, 2, yes, top of the page, yeah. Stop. Also, same thing here. Don't do the diminuendo too soon, because we're losing you in sound too soon. And just in general, when you have da 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 da, very well articulated, da da da, so very clearly spoken. Yeah. So one more time, the same places. very beautiful. So, what I wanted to explain, 1, 2, 3 after G. He's building this up, and he is tricking us, or sort of, we think this is coming to a really heroic ending here. Yeah, he goes. Yeah, but he actually doesn't, because he puts an E flat there. So if you would play an E natural, yeah, it could be the end of the piece, but he doesn't. He sort of twists this around. And I think then when you look at the piano score, in the piano score there is a piano subito, and I think that piano subito you can already introduce with that E flat. Yeah, so that you don't go body, but it's da-dee. It's kind of something, a little twist there, which gives you this kind of thoughtfulness that it's not altogether so happy. Yeah, so there's something nostalgic, something not so great. Yeah, so give that a try. And the E flat, I'm not saying to play it piano subito. I'm just saying, don't throw it out there if it would be a heroic end of a phrase. Just give it a special color. That's what I'm wanting to say. So maybe just it's enough just from G. Okay, do it one more time. Very dangerous is, of course, losing the tempo there. So with all this thinking, oh God, we have to, don't lose the tempo. And I would even breathe before the E flat, even if you don't need it. Just putting a musical breath, going. Sorry, but you know what I mean, yeah? So that there's a tiny breath, and then you place that E flat in the new color, yeah? So one more time from G. Yeah, it's still too active. Don't be so active, yeah? Don't be so. Just let it happen. Let it happen. One more time. Don't slow down. Yeah.
Great.
Bravo.
Thank you
really
very much.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, just one sentence to conclude. Also here, you see, he ends in pianissimo, and so many, even finale movements of works by Hans Gall. There's a lot going on, and it's really virtuosic and everything, but the ending is very often very intimate, very thoughtful. Yeah, and so that's right. Also, again, knowing a little bit about the past will help you to understand, and also to just interpret it just a little bit with more thought, yeah? But otherwise, really good. And I hope that you look also at the other movements. And this is also the kind of piece you can just, in a regular concert program, just put one of them. And audiences love it, yeah? It's just after you've done your, I don't know, Carmen Fantasy or whatever, really virtuos. And then you put this somewhere in the middle of the program. It's great, yeah? And then anyway, tomorrow we have then more time. We can talk about also other Hans Gall repertoire, which other pieces he wrote for flute, so we can do that tomorrow. Okay, otherwise, great.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you very much. So, the next composer is Robert Fürstenthal. And as I told you before, Hans Gall and Robert Fürstenthal are already at our archive, and we are making research on this music. We want to present this music by catalogs, by books, by CDs, and so on. And today, we will hear the sonata for flute and piano. This Robert Fürstenthal has lived nearly as long as Hans Gall, but has another well, how would you say, fate, because he was born in 1920. So when Hitler annexed Austria, he was approximately 18 years old, and he could not finish his high school, and he wanted to go to the MDW, to the University of Music and Performing Arts Vienna, at that time Academy for Music, but he was not allowed because he was Jewish. He was from a Jewish family, and he had to flee Austria. In Vienna, he left alone his loved Franziska and her family. The father of Franziska was an amateur tenor and liked to sing Schubert and Hugo Wolf, and Robert Fürstenthal accompanied him at the piano. So he had to flee very fast to London, and relatives of his family invited him to come to the United States. After the war, he became part of the army, of the US Army, and came back to Austria and to Germany, and was a translator for the German prisoners. Then he came back to San Diego, US, California, and became some kind of accountant for the army. Well, after 40 years, he did not know what happened to Franziska in Vienna. So, and he was very eager to know what happened to her. And his therapist told him, well, if you want to know it, check it and see what you find out of her fate. And he found out that she became a well-known microbiologist at the Harvard University. And so he phoned her, and I met her. She told me this wonderful story. She heard his voice at the phone and said, "Robert, you are Robert. Are you still composing?" And Robert said, Franziska, I'm sorry, I did not compose in the last 40 years. I left Vienna and I stopped composing. And she said, well, just start again. And so there was a happy end. They married, and he started to compose, and he made wonderful music in the style when he left Vienna. So the fascinating thing is that he did not recognize the last 40 years of music history. So he started where he left in Vienna, in the style of Schubert and Hugo Wolf and Brahms. And it's a very special style when he composes like Brahms, like Schubert, like Hugo Wolf in San Diego, California. So to Michael Haas, a colleague of mine, he made this wonderful phrase, when I'm composing, I'm back in Vienna. Yeah? So this is something where he can live on for the rest of his life. And we're very happy that we have this estate with us. He died in 2016, and in 2 weeks his widow will come to Vienna again and visit the Exil Arte Center with friends. So this was a short introduction to Robert Fürstenthal, and now we will hear his sonata for flute and piano with Jorge Rodriguez Guevara, flute, and David Hausknecht, piano. Please. Wonderful, Jorge.
Really good.
It sounded really wonderful. May I start with my comments?
Sure.
As I told you, Schubert, Brahms, and Hugo Wolf were his heroes. And of course, we have a kind of concentration on classical forms. And, we could have a long discussion if it's more an ABA form or is it a rudiment sonata form, but we do not do that now. But I would start with the beginning of this piece, which is built as a subject in period. You know period? What are Vorsatz, Nachsatz? Antecedent and consequent, sorry. Antecedent and consequent. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 measures antecedent, and then you have a consequent with, a variation of the antecedent, which is, of course, clear in this case. And you have an additional 2 measures at the end. So it will be nice if you play it again, and remember that antecedent, consequent, and the consequent making a kind of commentary on the antecedent. Yeah, and let's see what will you do with that. Okay, yeah. When the recap came, or the A prime session, we do not discuss that now. There is tempo 1, first tempo, primo. You played it faster then, so try also the beginning allegretto, yeah, un poco marcato, but not too slow. It's an allegretto, yeah? So that, yeah, bam, 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 bam. Yeah, please, try it again. Yes, please. Vom Anfang noch einmal. Wonderful. There is another part which I would like to give. Yeah, it's page 17, 38. And this is the end of a small development section, and then he comes back to the subject. And, well, I saw the subject, but I did not hear it. So the beginning of the subject. So it would be nice if we can play this part, maybe starting with 34. And what you did was wonderful. You had there's a crescendo, but you intensified it, not just getting louder. Yeah, you made it more intense. Yeah, and that was Great. I appreciate it very much. So to try it again, 34. And then let us hear the subject. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Good. Fine, yeah. The third thing, which we discussed with the other colleague of yours, the other student, you heard my characterization of the middle section, and maybe you heard it, and then you made it as I wanted to hear. So that was really good, yeah. So you played it in another tone, in another character. So stay to that. That was right, yeah.
Yeah. How much time do we still have that I'm not losing myself in too much
7
detail?
minutes.
7 minutes. That's great. Okay. Yes, Gerald, thank you so much. This is exactly, even marked similar things, what you already explained. So excellent. Just one staying with Gerald's last thing he worked on around bar 38. Yes, you did build up the crescendo really nicely. I still feel that sometimes on the long notes, for example, on the dotted half note in 37, where he even writes a crescendo, don't give in. Just really feel as if there was an eighth note pulse underneath, yeah? Be da dee da da dee da 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 da. That you sort of have an open crescendo, and then don't lose the sound on the D, yeah? On the top D, so da 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 yam ba dee da da da. This is where we want to arrive. That is your sort of highest note, the climax of the thing. So let's try that, and just. You're a wonderful player, but I think you can pour out the emotion in stuff like that even more. Don't be afraid of it. Just let it go. So let's start. Where all these crescendo things happen? Maybe 32 or so? Very good. And I loved when you did it before for Professor Gruber, that you put a little breath there. Even if you don't need it. It's one of those musical breaths which will help also the listener to understand, this is where we are back again.
Exactly before the subject.
Yeah, so bar 40, 40 after the third beat.
After the D flat.
Okay.
After the D flat, you just make
I did it before and now.
Yeah.
and
again, also it's for the audience. They need to breathe as well. You know, they go,
that would be because I want to know where the subject is.
Exactly. Just speaking of the very beginning, what I really like that you are going in this kind of music, you go for the big phrase, which is very, very good. However, he does put slurs, so it's very a fine line that you shouldn't separate them, but also you shouldn't play those four notes as if it would be totally slurred. So if you can feel, it's a little bit like beginning of Brahms 4. I mean, this is probably too pathetic what I'm saying, but it's and so again, the difficulty really is that you're not separating the two, but with what you mentioned before, this sort of sighing moment, that you bring that out just a little bit more, and you can help there really with the articulation, as if you would, I don't know, you're speaking and you have the next word which is really important to you, and you just say it with a little emphasis. So let's just try the beginning one more time. yes, very good. And I'm not even sure if you're aware of it. You know what you did this time? You used another color for bar 9, which was great. Because this is what you meant before, that it shouldn't be all the da-da-dee, and then, okay, we have it the next time.
It's a small variation.
It's a small variation, and this time you pointed that out to us. It was so much more interesting to do that, yeah? And of course, next time you play it, you do it differently, but just that it's not the same for this opening phrase, yeah? So it's if you would have a little comma and then you continue your sentence with another thought or something like that, yeah? So very, very good. Just as a general thought for this type of music, what could help is also that you, like all the singers always do, have a little subtext too. Have your own little story to it, yeah? So that even, or a color. So I don't know, the opening is, I don't know, whatever you prefer, deep blue or bright red or whatever. And then when it comes to that section, the meno mosso section in 51 to 53, yeah, that even before it starts, that you already it will help you just to flavor it. Then for, again, you're doing it, but for the audience it could be even more, that it comes across, that it's your deliberate decision, that it's not just something you are, okay, I'm doing it like this, but that we feel that you have thought about it, yeah? And it's not in this section, but also then again when it goes more heroic or it goes more dramatic, then also that your story is changing, and that we feel that. Before we start, there's one place I'd love to do again where I think you can also help the music by advancing it a little bit further. It's all that triplet section as of bar 65. Maybe, David, you could start the 2 measures before.
65, wait.
Yeah, so
page 18.
65, 2 measures before 65,
okay.
we're starting.
63.
And you are the build-up to this suddenly in the piano going, yeah, da, 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 da. So you are in a way too not preparing it well enough, yeah? And also the way he writes these pauses, ba-da-dee-da, da-da-dee-da. It's even if you don't need the breath, it's this kind of breathlessness you need to create within the audience, that they go, oh, it's something really exciting coming up. And it is, because David then goes, yeah, da, 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 yeah? So, just play it again and give it more drama. And also what I wouldn't do, it's very tempting to do, but I would just to give it a try, not doing it in measure, I think it's measure 65, 6, 7, 8, 68. At the end of 68, you can, but don't slow down the tempo. The diminuendo is fine, but if you just continue, that even the diminuendo is your even more excitement, and then you crescendo, yeah? So give it a try. One more time, same place, 2 measures before 65. Feeling the pauses enough. So the silence is so much part of this music that I really need to, yeah? Do it one more time. It's coming along. It's really good. More. And now big crescendo. Yeah, and also there, if then later on you can even put a little accelerando there into that da 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 da. Again, not too much, but this is the stuff then when you rehearse it even more precisely with the pianist, then you can. So very last comment for the ending. more heroic. He loved Wagner and all that big stuff, so you can just really go for it. So let's just have the last couple of bars there. I don't know, measure 100 and what is that?
100 or 102, no?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
102.
And 102?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now keep the crescendo. Now keep the note. Yes. Open crescendo. And fortissimo. And even more. Yeah, no divino in the end. Really sort of open last note. Yeah, so you did beautifully and then you collapsed. So da. Yeah, as if the conductor would sort of break off the organ. Last 4 measures.
Okay, with a bit.
Yes, very good, very good, very good. Yay!
Thank you very much, Jorge.
That piece suits you really well. I think he should keep this in his repertoire. This is great. Well, I will make sure to send you the rest of the movements as well, so that you can have a look.
Yeah, thank you very much. So,
Good. Oh my God, I have to introduce the next composer. I'm totally exhausted. Do we have? Yes, we do have. Oh, good. We have our next candidate here. So it's Weinberg, no?
Ja,
Next piece.
Weinberg,
Ja.
genau.
So, very nice to meet you. So we're welcoming on stage Ekaterina Rostesnevskaya. I practiced this last night. I hope it's correct. And of course, again, our pianist David Hausknecht. And actually, I want to use the opportunity at this point to really thank David Hausknecht. He has prepared so much repertoire for this entire workshop and also rehearsed with all of you. So a big applause for David. Thank you so much. Yes, so just a couple of words on the composer Mstislav Weinberg. He was born into a Jewish family, Moise Samuel Weinberg. Both of his parents had an artistic background. The father was a conductor and violinist and also composer at the Yiddish theater in Warsaw. And also his mother was an actress at the Yiddish theater in Warsaw and also in Łódź. And in Poland, actually long before the outbreak of the Second World War, the family suffered of anti-Semitic attacks already. So again, the whole family really disturbed by these conflicts. And Weinberg started to study at the conservatory in Warsaw at age 12 and was lucky enough to finish his studies right before the outbreak of World War II. And he managed to flee to the Soviet Union, to Minsk. But unfortunately, both of the parents and also his sister stayed behind, and all 3 of them were killed in a concentration camp in Poland. So they're really tragic biographical background for Weinberg. Then, once the Germans attacked the Soviet Union in 1940, Weinberg was evacuated to Tashkent in Uzbekistan, and there starts to write more works, worked also for the opera house there, and most importantly, meets Dmitri Shostakovich. And again, this friendship between the two of them, I mean, Shostakovich was about 13 years older than Weinberg, but Shostakovich really recognized the talent in Weinberg and supported him, and also convinced him that the only way to make the career is if he would move to Moscow, and that's what he did. After the Second World War, which is then even more tragic, persecution did not end for Weinberg. It was then Stalinism who came as a really, really bad force. First of all, his father-in-law was arrested and assassinated due to his political views, but also due to the Jewish background. And after this moment, Weinberg was constantly followed by the police, and also in 1953 arrested, and then Shostakovich tried to get him out of the prison, and it was a very complicated situation, and the only thing that saved him was Stalin's death in the same year. And then he was freed and was rehabilitated, so to speak, and could continue his compositional path. So Weinberg died in 1996, and it took about 10 years that the works then in Russia were revived. And then here in Austria also, I want to mention there was a very successful performance of his opera, The Passenger, at the Bregenzer Festspiele in 2010. And this also was the moment that in the German-speaking world, his works were then more frequently performed. And also the opera, the subject of the opera, just in general, it's all about being imprisoned in a concentration camp and sort of this relation between those who, the Täteropfer, those who did the bad things and those who had to suffer from it. So it's this conflict between those two opposing parties. That's the subject of this opera. So definitely you see in his work that all these terrible things, that the parents and the sister was killed and he was persecuted several times. So that you see definitely in his work. He wrote 26 symphonies, 17 string quartets, and 30 sonatas, and 7 operas, and numerous other chamber music works. So a huge output of work. And interesting enough, also research has proven that also Shostakovich took up some of the themes that Weinberg had composed and reworked it into his own works, with, of course, permission of Weinberg. But also there, you see, it was not only Shostakovich who influenced Weinberg's style, but also the other way around. And of course, in Weinberg's music, you have a lot of the style of Shostakovich, and also Polish traditional music, Moravian traditional music, Jewish traditional music. And Shostakovich also mentioned that through Weinberg, he was interested in these Jewish melodies and sort of Eastern folk melodies. So that's also characteristic for his music. So the 12 miniatures that Katarina and David will play for us, they have chosen 3 of those miniatures, and in very different, each of the miniatures in different tempo, different style, different flavor to it. And they were composed in 1945, already after the war, so in end of November, beginning of December 1945. So I personally think that this music definitely was still under the impression of all those terrible things that happened during the Second World War. So it's all yours, and I'm really, really curious how the performance will be. Wonderful. Thank you so much again also for you for taking on the challenge. Again, also you had the music for such a short period of time, so you're doing really well. And also I feel that you're trying to give each of the three pieces a completely different atmosphere, which that's the big challenge in this music. So you're doing very well. So let's start with the first piece. So, question to you. What did you think this was all about? What did you try to make the listener feel? Or what's your thoughts on that?
I think it's like a march, and you have played to more stronger and be strict in rhythm or in the tempo.
Yeah.
And to play, like, to force a little bit.
Yes.
Bit to be confident in yourself, I think.
Yeah, very good. So you said you have to force a little bit. No, you have to force a lot. Yeah. So it's this. It's and it's you see the difficulty, of course, is for the low range that we are getting this really mean color. And I mean, you are such a lovely person, and with this you shouldn't be. You have to get that mean character out of you. Yeah, here you can show all the things that you're way too polite to show. Yeah, so that you really. So let's see if I can do this after all the talking. Yeah, so I'm using even here the noise of the tongue, and also I'm playing this really on the edge, where it's sort of nearly breaking. So don't be afraid, and even if it shoots up to the next octave for practicing, it doesn't matter, yeah? So you really have to try out extremes there. Give it a try, and then I will show you a couple of exercises where you can practice that. I need to listen from here. Do it one more time. Do it one more time and really sort of throw this at me here. Yeah, can I have it without the piano once? Just you, and really and don't do any diminuendo or anything. It's one big crescendo through. Yeah. Yeah, I hear a little bit that you are going. Yeah, so that you really also your second note is just as loud than the first one. Yeah, much better. And so that you are feeling also on the second one. Write it in. It's fortissimo again. Yeah. So then also those accents with the trills. He's putting the trill because it's even enforcing the accent. Yeah. So you can do more because you see the difficulty in this. On the one hand, we say we want to be really mean and strong and military marching, but the title of the piece is Capriccio. So this is a mixture of this, and also there is some sort of, maybe some little bit of craziness in there, yeah? And you can bring that out with this accent. Yeah, yeah, so that you have combine the two characters. Give it a try. Once, just without the piano, and then we will add David. So when you go to the high octave, really also the sound doesn't get thin, yeah? So think probably here a lot of yeah, so that you get more sound. So now let's do it with the piano. Yeah, and also, sorry, before you start, what is not good, that you throw yourself into it really quickly and just go, yeah? So also there, you have all the time in the world to prepare. Before putting up the flute, you have to start for such a beginning. You have to start breathing in, yeah? And then, of course, you give the start, but you're already full here in the lungs, and then you go, yeah? So that you mentally, you are prepared, and you don't need to worry, do I have enough air, yeah? So the air before, and then you're ready. Yeah, one more time, not together. Now, forte. And go. And crescendo. Yeah, just I'm screaming and shouting around. You just play. Yeah, one more time. It's very good. Keep the sound. Crescendo. Much better for the ending. This is, of course, the biggest challenge on those low E's. The trick also there is you can play that. You don't need to look at the music. It's the same note, and look in the audience. Okay. Because even if your sound isn't, so I mean, it has to be loud, but believe me, it gets louder if you look at them. Okay. Da 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 da. Yeah. So give it a try. So let's just do the last. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, or from 2. Let's do it from 2. Yeah, getting there. Yeah. So you put down the eyes once. Yeah. I want that for the whole bars. You just look at them. Yeah. And make ugly sound. It just needs to be loud and noisy and yeah. One more time. One last time. One more time. From 2. Good, great. You need to work on that, but it's really coming. I think
I agree with you that there is more behind this march than just soldiers were stepping down somewhere. No, it's also in the work of Shostakovich that both of them are mocking things, making fun of things. And of course, Stalin did not like that. He did not like it when Shostakovich did it, and he did not like it when Weinberg is doing that. So it's like a clown, Pierrot, making fun of soldiers, yeah? And he steps down somewhere, making marching movements, yeah? And so that's how this is made, and it's called capriccious. Something funny. Yeah. It's not a march. Yeah, it's a kind of very aggressive march, as you have told.
Yeah, very good.
And the same. Jokes. Yeah, pardon me. Yeah, make jokes and do not hesitate when the flute makes noises other than tones. Yeah, because this is part of the game. Yeah, it's part of the game. Yeah. Oh God. There's a noise in it. No, that's it.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Very, very good.
And in the second piece,
so the Walzer.
Walzer. Yeah. When you call it a slow waltz, I would agree with this. How you played it, it's not a slow waltz. It's an allegro molto waltz. Yeah. So it would be fine if you can take this what we spoke about the other piece into the waltz, yeah? It's a mimicry of a waltz, yeah? But not an original waltz, a Viennese waltz, yeah? You cannot dance with this, yeah? Just make fun of it, yeah? Try it, please.
Yeah. Yes, beautiful.
Yeah.
The tempo changed everything. It's. I love it that way. I've performed these, and I've played like I think 5 different tempos to try out which one. But that's I like that very much.
Yeah,
that
of
it's
course.
a little bit more advanced.
A little bit
very
more
good.
advanced, yeah.
I know we don't have a lot of time left, but do you want to just play maybe the beginning one more time from the movement number 8? Also there, just a question to you, what do you feel? What do you think? What feelings go through your mind when you play this?
Maybe it's a melancholy with some thoughts that is maybe difficult for the person who plays it. Maybe.
So how
Why it's called duet?
Yeah.
I know, but maybe it's like a performer and his thoughts, and it will be a duet.
Yeah.
Not between 2 persons, maybe for himself and his.
Well,
so-
they are very different characters. They are very much apart. So can they come together or don't they come together? That's just a first meeting at a cafe. Yeah, yeah. Try a conversation with the other person, and does it happen to get in touch with the other person or not? Yeah, and think about that when you play it. Yeah.
Yeah.
In one person's head.
And I think the listener can really feel if you are listening to the piano on your long notes. So when you play the long note, really get into this feel. I think also it's very scary sometimes. Yeah, when it's
Yeah, of
like
course,
glass
yeah.
dropping
It's
or something
it's
like
the
that.
clown.
Yeah.
It's the clown and the Columbine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the Pierrot and Columbine. Yeah.
Yeah, so just the beginning, and be careful with your first note that it doesn't I know it's piano, but that it doesn't sound weak. So try to project it out there just a little bit more so that it's a sort of stable, nice color. One more time. And also the same thing, really breathe beforehand, get ready, and then start. Very beautiful. Just be careful when you are ending your note. We should hardly feel that it's not, oh, the flute is ending and the piano is getting. It's just, you are still in your mind. You need to continue the sound. And believe me, we will feel that. Yeah? How many minutes do we still have? None.
0.
Okay, good. No, it was really, really good. And I really hope you can also maybe look at the other movements, because if you play the whole set, then also you will see there's an idea behind going the different keys and how he is, working with that. So, but also I've performed the whole thing, and also separate think that it works. Yeah, if you just make your selection. But I think also a great piece to put into just a regular recital program. So, and also the virtuosic movements show all your techniques and flamboyancy. So it's really, really suits you. Yeah, good. Thanks very much.
Jetzt kommt schön Teil. Macht nichts. Kein Problem. Ist alle da? Sind alle da?
That's my Schöntal. So while the stage is set up here, I will explain a little bit about the composer Ruth Schöntal. Ruth Schöntal, born in Hamburg in 1924. Her parents both came from Vienna. And Ruth Schöntal was clearly a child prodigy. Already at age 5, she was admitted to the Stern'sche Conservatory in Berlin, far beyond the official age limits. But of course, once the National Socialists took over in Germany. She was expelled from school and then also, of course, eventually expelled also from the conservatory. And by 1938, it was really getting way too dangerous for the family. And they decided, first of all, to immigrate to Stockholm because there was a second branch of the business they had. And she studied also at the Royal Academy in Stockholm. But then also there it got too dangerous, and the family continued their flight to Moscow, and then also there, the father decided this is not secure enough, and they continued their long journey to Japan and finally ended up in Mexico City. And in Mexico City, as a young woman, she was able to perform at the radio and also give concerts as a young pianist, and she was very lucky there because Paul Hindemith heard her in Mexico City and offered her a place to study with him at Yale University. And this offer, after the war, she took on and went to study with Hindemith. She then moved to New York, and for many, many years, Ruth Schöntal was a professor for composition at various universities in the New York era, and she wrote over 100 works in various different genres. She wrote an opera, ballets, orchestral works, chamber music, and also a lot of lieder for voice and piano. She did return to Germany in 1980, where a whole concert tour was organized with her works. She received also many, many prizes and awards for them, and she also was able to publish a lot of her works, and it's actually the Furore Verlag in Kassel who is really promoting women composers, and also there Ruth Schöntal's works are featured, and you can actually get the scores pretty easily today of her work. And she then passes away in the United States near New York City in 2006. So her estate, unfortunately, is not with Exil Arte, but with the Academy of Arts in Berlin, should you want to do further research on Ruth Schöntal. And just a couple of words to her music. Her music, she writes in various different styles. Her earlier works are still under the influence of the so-called Neue Sachlichkeit from Paul Hindemith. And but also what is very typical for her musical language is it's the European music tradition, of course, but also American modernism influencing her, and also folkloristic elements coming into the music. And in several of her works, she's also dealing with an interreligious dialogue, so trying to put together in one piece of art elements of the Jewish religion of Judaism, and also Islam, and also Christianity. So definitely with Ruth Schöntal, always the wish for an understanding between the culture and a peaceful living together. In several of her works, you can really, she explicitly even explains that to her audience. But today we will hear her concerto for 3 instruments, and the 3 instruments are flute, bassoon, and piano, and the work was composed in 2000. And I am welcoming now on stage Alma Sonnenstein and Tamara Ben-Zaken from Israel, together with, of course, David Hausknecht. So I forgot to explain something. As the work in its entirety would be 15 minutes long, we have decided to listen to about half of it. And also, these brave musicians have just received the music 10 days ago. And again, also to you, thank you for taking on this challenge. And we're looking forward to hearing you. Great.
Well, we're in the middle section of the piece. Well, unfortunately, we have not time for the whole piece, but thanks that you played till this part. It's a concerto for. It's called a piccolo concerto for 3 instruments, and it's really fascinating how Schöntal put these 3 instruments in the into of the room. Into you hear the bassoon first, then the piano, and finally the flute. And this is a kind of a scenery that is built up at the beginning of the piece. And I think for me, at the moment when you played it the first time, we had not the feeling of this is the first protagonist, the second protagonist, the third protagonist. Yeah, it's like a theater play, a piccolo theater play, if you like. So make it more like you would play a theater piece or something like that. So start again and show off. And I'm now the bassoonist. Yeah, I'm the pianist. I'm the flutist. Yeah, I come along and let's play together. Yeah, this is what I think that Schöntal wanted to be shown in this piece. Yeah, and therefore it's called Concerto per 3 instrumenti, and not per 2 instruments with the accompaniment of the piano. Yeah, it's really three parts. Okay, let's try it again. Show off. It's entertaining.
Sorry, what?
Yes.
Okay.
Start. Short motifs. And the sighing, and yes. Now the pianist. Entrance of the flute. Yes, yeah, wonderful. Sigh. Great. Wonderful, yes.
Okay,
Wonderful,
really,
thank you.
really great. Again,
Yeah.
It's brand new to you, and you're doing so well
Of
with
course,
it. What now the next step could be? I mean, absolutely agree to what you said. It needs to be even more theatrical than what you're doing. Yeah, it's really sort of these diva moments you have that you can really enjoy, which you did now much more. Also, she writes rubato, and you can really, for once, yay, I am way freer than this text is, yeah? And you can play around with this dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 da, yeah? So that you really, you can push and pull with the tempo, and in this pushing and pulling there, you can find the own expressiveness with that, yeah? Just one thing for those little elements in bar 12 and 13. It's not easy to do, I know, but she wants open crescendi. So we are also so trained from the classical training that always the end of the note, we make this. And here she wants the opposite. She wants da-da-da-da, da-da-da, yeah, so this, what normally we are not allowed to do,
yes.
you can do here, yeah, with great pleasure, and also with, if you do it convincingly, then everybody will, oh wow, well this is a great element of the style of Schöntal. And one last thought, yes, you know, in the flute in bar, what is that, 32, I think they forgot the slur. And yes, you can use articulation as, you know, for example, in the next bar, as a stylistic element, you can go dee-da, dee-da, dee-da. But I think you have more freedom if you slur everything, also to accelerate the tempo. I mean, bravo, what you did with your articulation, but I don't think you need to make life so hard for you here. So it's the same then actually what the bassoon had to open with. So and then probably if you want to, then ding-dong, 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 when you're slowing it down, you can, with sort of long tonguing and sort of portato, you can add a different flavor to it. But just in general, big slur, yeah, don't make life too tough for you, yeah. And also when you are playing this, where is that, top of, measure 31 in the flute, way more sound. And then let it lead into the dee-la-dee-la-dee-la-dee. So really all you have there. And these are good notes on the flute. We like high E's and high F's. They sound great. So enjoy those even more. Yeah. So just to give it a try with the more rubato idea, to give you even more presence, yeah, than you did already. The second time you played was so much better. So now that you feel more secure, just be a little bit more creative with it. Good. So here, very important for expressiveness, end of bar 15 in the flute. Da 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 dee. Now then, don't lose the crescendo on the high F. Dee ya dee da. So you're leading to the 4/4 bar, yeah. So definitely not weaker on the F. Can we take it right there on measure 15, please? Now crescendo. Yeah, so just continue. Really draw the crescendo to the A. One more time. Yeah, and if you do it like that, then it will be also perfectly together, which it was now. So very, very good. My other idea, I would like to hear that part with those dotted rhythms one more time. Can we go to the a tempo measure 44? Okay, good, good, good. So here, I think what I've explained before, the music by Ruth Schöntal, it's always trying to combine these different ethnic worlds. Yeah, on the one hand, you had this yeah, sort of the Hasidic, Arabic, whatever. And then here, for me, this is more the Western world, where she writes un poco cantabile. So just also in the flute, sing it as if this is a beautiful tune you're presenting now, and also they're interrupted from the bassoon with tidam, tadam, tada, a little bit hindemith, yeah? So let's try that one more time. So can we go from the same place? And also the trick here is don't let it get too slow. And especially then she's very particular with tempo. So that comes with time, of course, but also it is a place where one likes to slow down. So just really sort of advance it just a little bit. Tempo. Okay, good, good, good. How did you feel with that? Was that more comfortable? For me, it sounded more convincing.
Yes, of course, yeah.
in that way. Yeah. So yes.
As you said, hindemith, we have often in the hindemith works such subjects which have happier mood or funnier, not happier, maybe funnier mood.
Yeah.
And so that's a real contrast to the other part, which, as I try to explain, theatric play, show off. Here it's a more intimate style, making fun of myself or somebody else. And so that's a really contrast to the other part.
Yeah. And also what you can do when you practice that part with the di-dam, bi-dim, ba-dam, probably sometimes cutting out the rhythm completely and trying to find the cantilena in this, yeah? Di-dam, bi-dam, bi-dam, ba-dam. But because the rhythm, it's very tempting to play it to everything the same, or that it's getting too much kind of marching band, da 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 da. Yeah. So if you at home just for yourself play da dee dee da da dee da, just to find the melody line and then adding the rhythm to it. Yeah. So that would be a way to go about that. Okay. Let's look a little bit at the next section. So just to get into that, let's start 62, just the ending of that part we've just played. Yeah, good, very good. What is important here in the bassoon is that you really listen to the piano. The shaping of the phrase of that whole thing is determining how in which dynamic you will. I know she writes pianissimo, but I think the pianissimo has different shades within. So if the melody line in the piano goes a little bit more high or a little bit more intimate, then you have to react to that with your accompaniment. It's very beautifully written. It's this color from the bassoon is just magic at this point with the high notes in the piano. Yeah. So let's do that one more time. Same place, 62 to get into it, and then really carefully listen to David. We don't have a lot of time left, but just you did absolutely beautiful, perfect, wonderful, and also now you performed it much better than we are not expecting this. What is happening at 76? Yeah, so it all is very beautiful, and then suddenly. Da 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 da, and the way she's writing, it's quite weird in a way. It's not an accent. It's like a mini crescendo here, and a forte piano, and then a diminuendo. So I think what she's after is again, we've talked a lot today about sighing. Yeah. And this is sighing as well. Yeah. And then once you have that, then the next step is for yourself to decide, again, looking at the piano part. She writes a little bit of dynamics, but definitely what shouldn't be is that each one is the same, yeah? And also with the length of the grace notes, you can play with that, yeah? Maybe sometimes pa da 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 da, and then tia da 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 da, yeah? So that's definitely something for you to decide, and then change it like hundreds of times before you take it to the performance, and even after the performance, then change it again, yeah? It's that type of music. So to end the session with, let's give that a try. So can you play from a tempo one more time, dolce a tempo? So that's measure 73. And really surprise us as you did before, but try to bring in this sort of sighing element even more, yeah? Yes, great. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you very much.
And then we'll see how Friday is going to work out, because maybe if you want to, we can, of course, also go through the rest of the piece, but we just have to see how scheduling-wise we're doing.
Of course.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Anna, please. No, nice to meet you too.
Hi, nice to meet you. Hi.
So, for this wonderful morning workshop, the last piece will be by Erwin Schulhoff, played by Anna Komarova. And Erwin Schulhoff was born in Prague, and he was born into a Jewish family. Antonin Dvorak was so fascinated by the child prodigy that he recommended Schulhoff to the Prague Conservatory. After finishing his studies, he went to Vienna and to Cologne and to Leipzig and to Paris because he wanted to get all the influences available in the first half of the 20th century. And of course, as we will hear, he put all these influences into his music. So you hear, of course, music or melodies of his Czech home country. Here you hear American jazz, you hear Impressionism, a little bit of Debussy, a little bit of the second Viennese school. So he put everything together. Well, he's not the only one. Many composers did that, of course, to create his own personal style, of course. He was a very prolific pianist. Unfortunately, he was injured in the First World War as a soldier, but he kept being a perfect pianist in the radio until 1939, when the Nazis came to Prague. But he still worked as a radio pianist, although not under his name Schulhoff, because he was Jewish, of course. Well, he wrote one opera, Die Flammen, and 8 symphonies, chamber music, and maybe some of you might know the Hot Sonata, which is a jazz sonata by Schulhoff. Saxophonists love to play this piece. Well, finally, unfortunately, he was put in internment in a concentration camp in Bavaria in 1941, and he died of tuberculosis in 1942. So, I hope I have said or explained most of the details you should know to hear Anna Komarova and David Hausknecht with the first movement of Sonata for Flute and Piano. Please, Anna and David.
Bravo, bravo.
Wonderful, Anna.
Really good. My
like?
question would be, how long have you been working on the piece?
It's my first time I'm working on this piece, also with David. I've never played it before.
Yeah, no, excellent. The reason also why I didn't send out music for this sonata, it would be cruel to just give 10 days. So I'm so glad you brought it, that we have it as an addition, because it's an essential piece of the flute repertoire, and I'm so happy that people are playing it more and more. It's equally an important piece than, let's say, Martinus Sonata. It's really one of the big 20th century's flute pieces we have. So wonderful that we can have it today. Excellent.
She asked for the piece, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Congratulations. You asked us to
Yes,
send
yes.
it to you. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Because,
she had it. She brought it with her.
You brought it
Yeah.
because when we discussed the pieces, I said to Ulrike, no. For 10 days we cannot.
Way too hard. We can't do this to
We
people.
can't do that.
So again, so good that you brought it
You
along.
don't.
Excellently played. What I'm just going to give you some ideas. Yeah, it's the way you played is fabulous. Just as a general thought, in this movement, don't be afraid to take time for breathing. I know we are constantly, we look at the music, we think, oh God, there's no space to breathe. So take the time and the piano will follow you. For example, before the first, do you know where that is? I don't have any bar numbers in here, which is not good, but you know what I mean. And because what was unfortunate, we lost your sound at the bar before. Why? Because you were already afraid to breathe and to go to the next. Don't play in tempo there. I mean, just take the time. Also for the listener, you see, it's so much more easy to follow you. There's a new element coming, yeah?
Okay.
And with also, there's no one on the one but you. So however long you wait here, the piano has to wait as well. So let's give that a try. Do you just want to start maybe 2 bars before? We're cheating a little bit with the breath here, but doesn't matter. But just even if you don't need it, breathe there and set up the new theme. So 2 bars before that. Yeah, but how did that feel to you?
It's better. It's like a pause between two parts of this.
Yeah, and also I think it's so much more understandable.
Of course, I wanted to say that too, because there's another view now. It's like in a film. You have a cut in this direction, and then you have a cut in the other direction. And so you have to feel this is a new part of the film, and that says a lot of that, what Ulrike meant.
Okay.
Yeah. Another place where I would take way more time is before tempo 1, when you have the Yeah. So there also you can really, you don't need to play that. You can really way more natural, yeah. So that it's. I think it's not a moment of excitement here. It's sort of introducing then those lovely chords from the piano, dee da dee da dee da dee da, and then you just go before and. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, every time the pianist is not playing, you have your time.
Okay. Exactly.
Yeah.
So also there, take it a little bit beforehand, maybe from the sostenuto or a bar after, wherever it's comfortable. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4 bars before tempo 1. Enjoy every single note. This is no technical exercise. It's more important that it's clear, yeah, than fast. Yeah, do it one more time, same place. Very good. Just in general, when you have the long notes, like here, the tied over quarter and the dotted quarter, and then he goes into he sort of melts into a different section. Use those long notes to change the color, yeah? So that it's not da-li-da-dee, dee-da-da, da-li-da-dee, dee-da-da-da-da, or the contrary, yeah? So that you diminish and then you open up again, yeah? So it's just a general idea here.
This is one of the impressionistic moments. So he uses the colors of Debussy and other impressionistic composers, and so you should use this color for this part here.
Yeah, very good. How much time?
0. No, sorry. Well, just kidding. 5 minutes.
Okay, good. So there is one part I would like to speak about. It's all this business where he then goes so passionate into this animare and espressivo and what not. I have made the experience that this whole build-up, it's not about tempo getting faster, it's about increasing just the intensity in sound. Okay. And sometimes it's even better if you take a step back from the tempo and you kind of you bathe in especially those piano chords when it's then really that sometimes less tempo gives you more passion in this time. So I would just love to do that once. You know where that starts. Where do you want to? So before animare somewhere, yeah? Or maybe 3 bars before the animare on those da ba dee ba dee ba dee da da dee.
3 or?
To do it like that, and also there you can for example the high G flat. It says on the high G flat crescendo, which means don't be your loudest at the start of the note. Let it develop, yeah. Dee, da, da, da. So every time when you have those long notes, you should filling them with expression means also that you're taking them somewhere, yeah. So one last time, so good. So the 3 bars before the animare. That sort of, I just think this is fantastic like that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So again, doing less sometimes is more in terms of the tempo. So, and also there you really then, you're way more, if you don't feel pushed, you feel really comfortable with it. Yeah. Last thing for the fast part, same thing that I said before. Don't be afraid of breathing, especially when you are then on your own. So at the end of da 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 da, ya da 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 da, you can take a breath and use the breath in a really musical way that you're slowing down the tempo and you are basically confirming for the 100th time, da 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 da, yeah, and so that, and then if the tempo is, because the danger here is that the tempo is getting faster and faster, and you just it's going to crash, yeah. So if you take the tempo out and use again the intensity in articulation and sound, then the wow effect in the audience will be way bigger. So let's start from the fortissimo, molto agitato sempre. And really try, as soon as the last one comes up, da di da da da, ya da 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 da. Yeah. So it's like a little cadenza you are adding on. Yeah, great. Really, really good.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anna.
And by the way, also here you can use the trick with the eyes. You should look at the audience for that last little, because that's sort of the joke in the end. Yeah. So
exactly.
Look at us, and for the last for the slow part, the last slow part, it's very difficult, I know, because I move a lot as well. But try to be very still in your body language, because it's after all this da 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 da, and then. Trust, this is just the end. It's so part of your performance. If you can try, you can only try, because it's very hard to do, I know. But just let go. That no agitation anymore. But excellent playing. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's have a summary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Well, let's give a short summary on what we've heard. I was very fascinating how well prepared all our students were. They were great, and also the feeling that they had to get in discussion with us on the music, on this very special music they did not have heard till now, most of them. And
yes,
what
also
would you say?
I was totally overwhelmed with all the performances, and also I think what was important today also that we've heard composers in such different styles, and this is something that we, as researchers also, that we are so interested in, that before the Nazis came to power, that great variety of style there was, and that was partly really lost in the second half of the century. And so this missing part of music history, this is by performing these works, will rebuild.
Yes,
will be
that's
rebuilt.
what we want to
Yeah.
bring back. And please contact us, of course, and get on our website, see what we are doing. And we have already published several CDs. If you like to have these, please write to us and we will send it to you. And there's more to come, of course. We are having different symposia, concerts, and master classes. In October, Ulrike Anton will give a master class at Schwerin, which is in the north of Germany. And there is a special competition on ostracized music. So they have a kind of charity organization which is similar to ours, which was similar to ours when we were a charity organization. Now we are luckily a part of the music university, and we are thankful to them that they invited us, that the ISA invited us to come to Reichenau. So let's see when you come to Schwerin or to Vienna, and just stay in touch with us.
Yes, and so just to explain one more time, the competition is every other year, and this has already been established since several years. So it's called the Verfemte Musik competition, and the idea is to set up the master classes the year before the competition so that you really have enough time to prepare for it. So the master classes are in October this year, and then in October next year, this is when the competition will be. And we've been also on the jury of this competition for several years, and we have brochures here for you so that you can have a look. So again, also the competition is set up that this music gets into the repertoire of the young performers and the young musicians. And we can only highly encourage all of you to participate.
That's true. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
and
Ulrike.
Thank you, Gerald. It was a pleasure as always.
See you later in Reichenau or in other places.
That's right. Thank you very much.